Today's case takes us to Queensland in Australia. Daniel James Morcombe was born on the 19th of December 1989 in Queensland, Australia. One of three children of Bruce and Denise Morcombe, Daniel was especially close with his identical twin brother Bradley. They grew up in a loving home on Australia's Sunshine Coast. Daniel had a strong interest in animals. His family filled their home with pets, including a pony that Daniel adored. Neighbors knew the boy as a quiet, helpful child who would help pick fruit in the neighborhood whenever it was harvest time. On the 7th of December 2003, Daniel and his brother woke up early to help their neighbors harvest passion fruit. After receiving his pay, Daniel decided to take a bus to the Sunshine Plaza shopping center to buy Christmas gifts for his family. His parents were absolutely comfortable with him making the trip, given that he had taken the bus to the mall at least 15 times prior. Daniel walked less than a mile from his home to the bus stop, but never boarded a bus. Later that day, Daniel's parents came home from a work function to find that he had never returned from the mall. They drove to the mall to look for him, but he was nowhere to be found. On the 8th of December, a day after Daniel disappeared, the Queensland Police officially opened an investigation into Daniel Morcombe's disappearance. They began scouring CCTV footage at the mall, monitoring the teen's bank account and interviewing known sex offenders in the area. After receiving numerous tips and collecting eyewitness statements, investigators made several important discoveries about Daniel's disappearance. Witnesses described seeing a young boy that fit Daniel's description waiting at the bus stop on December the 7th. Some said they spotted a blue car nearby with one or two men inside who were actually speaking to Daniel. Authorities also learned that the bus scheduled to pick Daniel up that day had never arrived. It had broken down and its replacement skipped the stop because it was behind schedule. A third bus did eventually stop, but by the time it arrived, Daniel was gone. It would be 8 long years before Daniel's family got any answers about what had happened to him. From early on in the investigation into Daniel's disappearance, the police suspected a convicted sex offender named Brett Peter Cohen. In 1987, Brett Peter Cohen had lured a 7-year-old boy into a park bathroom and raped him. He served only 1 year in prison. Then in 1993, Cohen raped a 6-year-old boy and was sentenced to 3.5 years. When he was released, Cohen reportedly became a reformed Christian, got married and had 2 children of his own. It was his wife who initially lied to the police about his whereabouts on the 7th of December. She later admitted that he disappeared for at least 5 hours. When the police first interviewed Cohen, he told them he'd been driving past the bus stop on his way to buy marijuana from his drug dealer when he noticed Daniel James standing at the bus stop alone. He admitted that he stopped and offered Daniel a ride, but had gone on his way when Daniel turned him down. With no real evidence, the investigators were unable to pursue a case against Cohen. But in 2011, they came up with an idea to get more information out of him. In April, authorities began a sting operation called Mr. Big. An undercover officer befriended Cohen on a flight to Perth. He pretended that he was involved in a criminal gang and worked to gain Cohen's trust. He introduced him to his law-breaking friends, who were actually other police officers that were undercover, and together they made him think he was assisting the group in fake criminal scenarios. In August, Brett Peter Cohen trusted the officers enough that he confided in one of them that he kidnapped and killed Daniel James Morcombe. The confession was caught on a hidden camera and Cohen was immediately arrested. Brett Peter Cohen then admitted everything. Daniel indeed accepted the lift. Daniel was then driven to a secluded spot near Beerwah, half an hour away, and was taken into a house. The prosecution, quoting from a secretly recorded conversation, said Cohen admitted that he had planned to molest Daniel. I never got to molest him, and he panicked, and I panicked, and I grabbed him by the throat, and before I could, he was dead, Cohen was quoted as saying. Cohen also said that he intended to only rape Daniel and drop him off at the shopping mall. Cohen led the police to the Glass House Mountains. The investigators were able to uncover Daniel's shoes, clothing, and 17 bone fragments. In March 2014, Brett Cohen was sentenced to life in prison for Daniel James Morcombe's murder. Daniel's twin brother Bradley said in 2016, "For me, there is not a single day that I don't think about Daniel. I know that Daniel is still with me in my heart and in my thoughts, and he always will be." In 2023, Dean Morcombe said, "I was 16 and it was school holidays and I'd just started a job at the local plant nursery. We knew within hours of Daniel going missing that something was horribly wrong." Dean, Daniel's older brother, sitting down with new idea at his Sunshine Coast hinterland home to mark the 20th anniversary of Daniel's disappearance, was joined by his wife and their daughters, Elsie and Iris. And he said, "Daniel was such a happy kid, and he wouldn't want all of us wallowing in self-pity." Family went on saying, "Every time we are together for special occasions, we always miss Daniel. He would have been the best uncle because he was already a terrific brother and a loving son." Well, people, what can we say? Just yet another case of an adult taking the life of a child, basically, because they are easy prey. And they are easy prey because they tend to trust people. So again, as I always say, if you see something or then hear something, say something before it is too late. Okay, guys and girls, I'll be back as soon as I can with more stories. I'm working on some more crime stories from different royal families, and I am still working on the Suzanne Morphew case. So hopefully I'll get some of that done this week. So until then, please take good care of yourselves, each other, your children, your pets. Until we meet again. Bye.